Not true.
Especially with Ravindra.
Must be.
You know, I remember writing a story for Vogue magazine. Yes, sometimes we write intelligent stories, which is about the Punjabiization of Bollywood when it had just started. Of course, now it's a given. And it was, you know, just to sort of visually demonstrate what it meant. There was a beautiful tandoori chicken laid out on a platter, but the whole tandoori chicken was Swarovski'd, you know. And there we were talking about how the idea of love has, in Bollywood, has such a big Punjabi heart to it. You know, you love big, you give big, you eat well. And I'm sure I can see a little smile curling up on Mr. Singh's lips. What do you think about that?
I would have smiled any which way. You bring Punjabi love or you bring Gujarati love, I would have still smiled. I've told this time and again that I became an author by chance. I'm continuing to do so by choice now. I never dreamt of writing a book. The whole jump into the world of writing was an outcome of a personal tragedy. And I took writing as a platform to vent out all my emotions and share it with people. Now, why I'm writing this novel? I'm writing because I want to share my grief with as many people as possible. I can share my grief if I talk about my story. And I cannot see myself in a different avatar, but being myself, which is a person who talks in Punjabi, who loves Punjabi music, and I need to give that flavor also. So you can say that I'm completely pouring my heart out in writing, and if that's me, you will just find me in those characters called Ravin also, who's different than a Ravinder. You know, I'm just taking a bonsai of the whole Ravinder and making a Ravin out of it. So I'm adding a bit of flavor so that it's like you garnish the dish before you place it on the table out there. But I love that my vibrant culture. I definitely love to talk about it.
Anuja, I'll just, you know, again, I'm going back to Zoya Factor, which I enjoyed very much. I'm very curious why you put love and loathing in caps. You didn't answer.
Sorry?
Why you put love and loathing?
I can't
Love
hear you.
and?
Can you hear me? I don't.
Yeah, no, I can't. Sorry, love and what?
Loathing, no? For the two terms that you use?
No, that was this.
No, because it's for a
wasn't
reader,
in
I tell
caps.
you. I mean, of course you write.
Did you read the whole book?
Absolutely did.
Yeah, well, that's something that peters out after the first 50 pages, I think.
No, it becomes more because then you go to liking in capital L. So for a reader, you may have written for a certain, for a reader, when you're reading it, suddenly everything in caps. It does make you think.
It wasn't in caps. I don't remember it being in caps.
Absolutely in caps. And I was thinking maybe, you know, perhaps.
It wasn't, I remember the love and loathing thing was, and it wasn't love, it was lust and loathing. She said every time she looked at him, there was a mixture of lust and loathing swirling around inside her. And sometimes it was lust 10% and loathing 90%, and sometimes it was lust 100% and loathing absolutely zilch, which was just a device.
So my question is, do you think that we are still caught up as, we like the bipolarity of love? Like, you know, this whole love and hate. I think this is very sort of, it happens more with women, and I've been through it myself, and my friends have been through it, that there seems to be a bipolar. We love the idea of love and hate. It's some black and white. Do you feel that?
Yes, I feel that. I know it may be considered a very cliched view, and now, of course, there are all these modern definitions of love that totally diss this whole traditional thing of like the girl and the boy and a hate story which turns to a love story. But I enjoy that, and I think it's always, see, all the stories in the world have been told. It's no longer about the what, but it's about the how. And I try and have a lot of fun with the how it actually pans out, you know. So it's a given. If you pick up a book I've read, you will know that the girl and the boy are going to end up together. What hopefully will keep you engaged, and what keeps me engaged when I'm writing, is how that happens, and how fresh you can make that, how much that can interest you and keep you hanging on. That's the thing that I like to do.
So I also know that both of your scripts have been, I know Anuja's script.
I've written 3 novels actually.
No, your script has been bought for a Bollywood film?
Well, my first 2 novels have been optioned by various production houses. The Zoya Factor is bought by Red Chillies, and now it is with Walkwater Films, and they're making a film, and Battle for Bitora is with Anil Kapoor Film Company. And Pricey Thakur Girls, I'm at the moment closing out to be a television serial. because that has 5 sisters, and the general sense was that, you know, you've written a TV serial. So
what do you feel are going to be the challenges, or continue to be the challenges?
See, again, well, they're not really my challenges, which is why, like, I've optioned it to somebody and they would do that work. My personal challenge is to write another book and do that with as much enthusiasm and not listening to people as I can. That's the challenge I feel.
And Ravindra?
Well, yes, there have been offers, but not one that I have accepted so far. And here is my thought and my challenge, now that you're asking about the challenges. My books are my babies, you know. I took a good amount of time working on them and bringing them out in this world. And more so because somewhere they are my own stories. And if, in particular, the first one, it's a tribute to my girlfriend who's no more in this world.
Yeah.
I have so much on stake, and I need to be very cautious of whom I'm giving this work to. I really look forward to a banner who can, with that commitment, you know, do justice to the entire story. I would love someone make a great movie out of it, because that will only help my purpose of writing I Too Had a Love Story. The purpose was to share my story. The purpose was to bring her back in this world in my own way. And I know that there exists a good amount of India or beyond the subcontinent of India where people do not read books. I really want my story to travel to them through the medium of movies, which substantially has many numbers of, in terms of viewership versus the number of readers that we would find.
Right. And tell us something about the Black Ink project.
Yes.
Because this is a direct offshoot of the success of your novels.
Yes. I'm so glad that you asked me this question. After writing my first book and when I was working on the second one, I was continuing my MBA in my B school, and by then I was writing the second book. That's when so many first-time authors got in touch with me and asked me, how can we write one? You know, there are so many challenges. And the previous session also, there was some girl who asked the same question. And I recall this one line from the movie Spider-Man, you know, with great powers come great responsibilities. That's when I thought that, and in the B school time period, this whole entrepreneurship Kida was just scrolling in me, and I said, I got to do something. And that's when I thought that maybe I can use my powers, my popularity to provide a platform for these first-time authors. So I went into project with my publishers, Penguin, and then we thought of a project in which we can launch many authors in one go. So we thought of doing an anthology. It was a nationwide contest in which we welcomed so many stories, and all of them were, end of the day, all of them were compiled by me. So from 5,000 entries to 2,500 valid entries, because there was so much of junk. From 2,500, there were different levels of filter, and we zeroed down to 25 best stories. We released them out in the market with the name Love Stories That Touched My Heart. And there's a note in that in which I have talked about all the 25 authors, what connected, you know. So I provided a platform for these first-time authors. Now this was my pilot project towards a bigger project, that tomorrow I want to stand on my own feet and do this entire thing on my own. That's when the whole idea of coming out with the Black Ink came. Now Black Ink is my publishing venture in which I'm running a program called The Three Interesting Storytellers. I will never publish myself from this venture, though I can earn double the royalties, I can keep the publishing here. But the whole idea of running Black Ink is very different. Two, I'm looking forward to publish debut authors. There's no point of publishing someone who is already published, because the whole game of Black Ink is to support debut authors. So that program is already running. I've got some 50 entries to look after. But I haven't promoted Black Ink so far on my social networking forum, which I will be doing maybe in a month or two now.
And what about you, Anju?
Sorry?
No, I just wanted to say that I think that's so correct. You know, I mean, the first book that Ravindra has written is written with such a pure motive. And I think people sense that in a book. Even if you look at Amish Tripathi's Immortals of Meluha, and that came out, and he says it every time that he dedicates it to Lord Shiva, and he felt like this compulsion to write the book. And again, the book is so pure, and so it therefore then finds an audience in huge takers. So I think that's really important, that you should be writing with that purity of purpose and not with an eye to, the other stuff. And I think that we're talking about romance here. There's a lot of romance also in writing, which you really believe that you should write, and not getting, so I think romance novelists also need to be romantics at heart, and not get into the whole marketing side of it.
So you are a romantic at heart?
Oh yes, very much so. Very much so.
So before I throw the floor open to questions, tell us what's the exciting project that we can look forward to?
Well, I'm very excited, but I've really become a convert to television recently. Maybe it's because I no longer have a full-time advertising job, so I'm spending a lot of time in a nightie watching television. And so I'm very excited about the reach, and I feel there's a revolution happening there. There's a lot of, we tend to dismiss television as Saas Bahu, but I do feel there's a lot of progressive stuff going on TV. If you see a serial like Balika Vadhu, they're hugely progressive. So I'm actually working on a TV series that I'm very excited about, which is going to be a daily 5 days a week Hindi soap. That's very exciting. There's a couple of screenplays I'm doing, which is also great fun. And of course, I'm working on the sequel of Those Pricey Thakur Girls, which is called The House That BJ Built, which is again about something that I find very interesting and goes on in my life. It's a family property dispute. I feel everybody here has some nani dadi ka ghar which is disputed, and there are like all kinds of evil mamajis and various taujis involved in that. So that's the subject of my of the sequel of Those Pricey Thakur Girls. So that's what I'm at.
Wonderful.
But for me, I've talked about Black Ink, but there is something beyond the world of books. It's like my newfound interest in promoting or making people, the young adults from college, aware of politics as well. So I found a new interest in politics. I kept campaigning for a party in which I believe, the Aam Aadmi Party in Delhi, when I went to vote for it. And today's the results day. Ever since morning, I just got up and still tuning on to TV. So the whole past month, I've been asking the young India to come out and vote. And definitely, if I have to take a stand, then there are so many things I want people to be aware of. Because many times the youth, and I'm so happy that this time we broke all records when the youth went to the polling booth. So beyond the world of writing, these are exciting things. Not that I'm joining any particular party, but I want to talk about it and bring that awareness to the young India, which thinks that politics is not our cup of tea and we should not spend time and energy in it.
Right, and you've got such a huge fan following. I'm sure you'll get them engaged at some point. And with that, the floor is open if you want to ask any questions. I'll just organize. Are we getting a mic for her? Please say clearly who the question is for.
Hello, this is Ashna Jha and I am an BCA student. Sir, I want to ask you that you have written a story that I too had a love story and then Can Love Happen Twice. Sir, I want to know that Can Love Happen Twice was a real story or was just an inspiration? And there's a second question also, but I want to answer first.
I kind of talked about the same question, Bandhana, as I was answering her, that I do not want to tell people, is it my story or not? The reality is that it is our generation's story. And the day I say it's my story, you would think, oh, aisa Ravinder ke saath hua tha. I really want to make people look on the left and right. There are so many complicated stories. Yes, a good part of the story is my story. I did go to Belgium. I worked for a client. But I didn't go to the rehabilitation center. That's how the story ends. I go to rehab, and my commissioning editor at my publishing house said that, you know what, the other day I got a call, and that person asked me, are you Vaishali Mathur? She is my commissioning editor. And then she said, yes. And then the girl said, I've been trying to reach out to Ravinder for so long a time, but I could not. My question, if you can get me an answer, is Ravinder out of the rehabilitation center? So we kind of laughed at that, but which brings me to also believe that there is so much of curiosity in my reader's mind, and I say that with all humility, that When people read the story, they believe that they are living that story in that moment. They happen to identify themselves somewhere in the stories. They see themselves as the protagonist of the story. And therefore, they connect so well that they want each and every answer. They also want to know that, is it true? I'm so sorry, my dear reader. I can't give you a very 100% answer to that, but a good amount of story is true story. It is also an amalgamation of 3 different stories. In 2 different stories, the guy played the character of Simmer. That's the reason I said that in real life, it's not Ravin is a pure white character and the girl is black. In the real world, we all are shades of grey.
It's fine. And my second
Just
question,
hold the mic close to your lips.
Yeah, my second question is, nowadays, जहाँ relationships इतने loosey-woosey हो रहे हैं, so what would you suggest कि मतलब how can we मतलब हम अपने studies and relationship दोनों को एक साथ कैसे handle करें? Not just boyfriend-girlfriend relationship, but also family matters. Can you please just suggest कि हम
The risk of writing love stories is that people think that you are love guru as well, which I am clearly not, but I will try to give an answer to that, but then with the same disclaimer, the way the mutual funds guys give, please read the offer document carefully before you accept someone's proposal. I mean, you really need to take time. One is to give up the whole idea that it's cool to hold an affair with someone. You need to think also. The games of heart, ask your brain that you need to give some time to get into that mode. Once you have identified, and my thumb rule is that the day you have made up your mind, do a litmus test, is that am I going to sacrifice for this particular person?